Hey guys, how you doing? Mark here. We're doing some cooking and we're going to cook probably one of the top 3 dishes that I enjoy. I mean, I love this stuff. Yeah, it's just that good. This is a sausage and chicken etouffee. This is a Cajun dish. Etouffee just basically means smothered in. Chicken and sausage smothered in ... But this is going to be kind of a nice vegetable creamy sauce that it's in. It's going to be really good. Like I said, this is one of my top dishes that I love. I just love Cajun food. I really do. We are going to make this low sodium for Jen. So the dish calls for a pound of andouille sausage. And you can get that at your grocery store, you know, just little links that you can slice up and stuff. But we actually make our own andouille mix. And so it's low sodium for Jen, okay? And then also when it comes down to adding salt to the dish while you're cooking, I'm just leaving it out, okay? You can just add whatever salt you want to your taste, okay? But everything else is laid out here. Let me show you what we're doing and how we're gonna do it. Okay, so I already showed you the 1 pound of andouille sausage. I've got 4 leg and thigh chicken quarters. I got a 3/4 cup of flour. I have 4 packets of a low sodium chicken broth. Again, this is for Jen's dietary needs. And I have 4 of them because I need 4 cups. 1 packet equals 1 cup. So I just dissolved this in boiling water. I've got a stick of butter, but I only need 2 tablespoons, and that's to make a roux with the flour. I have about 4 cloves of garlic minced up, a couple of bay leaves, a 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 2 tablespoons of paprika, 1 medium-sized onion, 1 to 1.5 bell peppers. I just basically have an extra half bell pepper laying in the fridge. I'm just going to use it up. 2 stalks of celery. We'll get that all sliced up. You'll need 12 ounces of beer, whatever you want. Some green onions, also known as scallions, and some parsley. Now over here at the stove, I've got my largest pot, and I got some olive oil. And then in the kettle here, I've got my 4 cups of water coming to a boil to mix in with the packets of chicken broth. Okay guys, so that's everything that we need, and what we're going to do is we got to brown off that meat first. Now this is actually kind of a lengthy process, but it's not hard either, okay? It's just that once everything's in the pot, it simmers for like an hour, so it takes a while. So you want to get this thing going maybe an hour and a half ahead of time, okay? Okay, so I'm going to get my pot going on medium-high heat, or medium heat actually. I need about 2 tablespoons of oil. That's about 2 tablespoons. All right, now I'm just going to let that come up to temperature. You can hear the kettle over here just coming up to temperature, and it's popping and banging and stuff. Now the oil that I used is an olive oil. You don't have to use olive oil if you don't want to. You can use extra virgin if you want to, but I find that the extra virgin stuff adds kind of a slight off flavor to the etouffee that I just don't really care for, so I just use a regular olive oil. Okay, it sounds like my water is coming up to a boil, so I'm going to put my packets into this measuring cup. All right, we'll turn that off. Now this is a Pyrex measuring cup, so I can pour the hot water straight into the container without fear of it exploding. And there's my 4 cups. My sausage is just starting to warm up now, so I'm going to start breaking it up. I actually want to do a video of us making up this sausage because we came across a really good recipe, but it just didn't have enough spicy kick to it, enough flavorings. So we've modified it a slight bit, and now we really like it. Okay, so I'm just going to slowly brown this off. I want to render out some of the fats that are in this sausage. Okay, while that sausage is still browning up, I need to get down here and start chopping up some vegetables. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly just roughly chop everything. I'm not gonna worry too much about the exact sizes and, you know, get a fine dice or anything like that. Just roughly chop it. Onions are done. All right. There's half that pepper. Okay, now what I'm doing down here, the sausage is cooked enough. I don't need to cook it completely through yet because it's gonna simmer for a long time once the ingredients are all together. So I'm not too worried about, you know, if there's a little bit of pink in there or anything like that. So I'm gonna set this aside for now. All right, so now I'm gonna turn my heat up just a little bit, maybe medium high. And I'm gonna put just a couple of the chicken thigh quarters in there. This pot's kind of small, I can only do 2 at a time. And now since the chicken's browning, I can come back down here and finish chopping up my vegetables. Now this mixture that I'm making with the onions, the peppers, and the celery, this mixture is actually called the Trinity, and it's basically the base of Cajun cuisine. All right, so we'll split it down the middle, give it a couple more splits down here towards the end. All right, and then we're just going to give it a quick rough chop. All right. The vegetable prep is done. All right, so the chicken's been going for a couple of minutes, not too long. I am going to turn that down a wee little bit. Okay, everything's looking good so far. This is a fairly lengthy process, so what I want to do here is I'm browning the chicken. I'm not cooking it all the way through. Okay, again, that will happen later in the process. But I'm going to cook it maybe 7 to 10 minutes per side, okay? Get this chicken flipped over. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's looking real good. That's looking good. Real good, you know what I mean? All right. I'm gonna pull these out, and then I'm gonna get the other 2 going. All right, guys, let's see how this is coming along. Oh yeah. All right, so that'll be the last flip of the chicken. Next time I'll just pull it out. I've got a little plate sitting over here. I got my plate sitting here, and I'll add the chicken to that. And then we'll get into the nitty gritty of actually making the dish. Now you can probably see on this camera over here, all that stuff burnt to the bottom. That stuff is called fond, and it is amazing stuff. And I'm sorry if it's really noisy in here. I've got an air conditioner over here that's on. I've got a fan over there that's on. So I'm sorry if there's a lot of background noise. There's people talking and stuff in the other room. So please just bear with me this time. All right, let's see how this is coming. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to the pot. Get that all melted down. I'm going to dump all that flour in there, and this is the roux. And I actually want to make my roux fairly dark. Yeah, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff still sticking to the bottom. That's fine, it happens all the time. It will actually get deglazed later, that's what the beer is for. But I want to turn this into a fairly dark roux. After just a couple of minutes, you have what's called a brown roux, or a blonde roux, sorry. And the blonde roux is basically that color. It just takes a couple of minutes. It just kind of cooks out the taste of the flour. I do want to keep stirring it so it doesn't burn, and it will burn quick. Spin my pan around to distribute the heat in different spots. Now, getting a dark roux will probably take maybe up to 10 minutes or so. And it happens, once it starts happening, it happens quick. It really does. Keep on scraping in the corners to get all the stuff out of there. And you can probably see how it's really starting to turn colors now. I can smell the flour. You can see the smoke that it generates. And in fact, we've done this before and we've set off the smoke alarm. All right. I'm getting close, and in fact, I'm getting to the point where I want to start adding my vegetables now. I'm just going to cook this for just a couple more minutes, maybe 5 minutes tops. Oh, you know what? I forgot my garlic. I am going to keep cooking this until my onions are just about translucent. All right. All right, now I'm going to add my broth. I'm going to use that liquid to deglaze the bottom of the pan now. Get up all that fond that was stuck to the bottom. All right, I'm also going to pop open the beer. I thought it was a screw top, but it wasn't. I actually had to pull the bottle opener out. All right, so there's our beer. Again, you can use pretty much any beer you want. I would stay away from really strong stuff, porters and stouts and stuff. This is just a lager. Give that a stir. Got to follow Justin Wilson's sayings, you know, after every ingredient you stir. All right, then I'm going to add my spices. That's the 2 tablespoons of paprika, the 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne, and the 2 bay leaves. Oh man, I tell you, that looks amazing. All right, now what I'm going to do, these chicken pieces, I'm going to nestle down inside of that liquid. All right, that's close. Don't forget those juices on the plate. Now I need my cover. Okay, got my cover on there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up to a simmer. I'm going to turn the heat down. And then I just need to let it sit here for like an hour and just simmer away, okay? So I'm going to set my timer for an hour because it's not going to take long to bring that up to temperature and get that simmer going. Have a guy ever told you guys that I hate beer? It's true. There's only two things good about beer: Etouffee and beer battered fish. Short of that, I hate beer. Alright guys, with everything down there cooking away, I just need to slice up these scallions, and I want to chop up this parsley, roughly a cup or so. Cut off the little roots of the green onions. Green onions, scallions, whatever you want to call them. You can cut them on a bias if you want. Okay, so there's the green onions. I don't think that's enough. And we're just going to sit here and give it a rough chop. There we go. That's good enough. Alright, that was all the chopping we needed to do. Now we gotta do is wait an hour for that sauce to finish off, and that chicken will be nice and tender. We'll take the chicken out and we pull it apart. You can do it with a fork or something like that because it's going to be really hot to do it with your hands. And then we put the chicken back in along with the sausage, give it maybe another 10 minutes to cook, and then it's just serve it. Okay guys, so what I want to do now is I am going to pull the chicken out. And I think I'm just going to do a couple at a time. I don't think my board here is big enough to handle everything else. Come down here. As you can see, I got my rice ready to go. Now, as I'm pulling this apart, I don't want to completely destroy the meat. I want to try to leave it pretty good chunks like that there. And using the skin is fine too, but I do cut it up with my fork as I'm going along. Alright, so now what I can do, I got most of the meat off, and now I can just go through, start pulling off bits and pieces. And try to get off as much of the meat as possible. Now you're probably not going to be able to get every bone out. You know, a couple are going to end up falling in, but you know, just do the best you can. Pull out these last two. And what I'm going to do now too, I'm going to add all that andouille sausage. Put all that in there. Oh yeah. Squeegee out all those juices, all the fat. Oh yeah. Okay. Got all that chicken in. So I got the chicken in. I already dumped that sausage in. Let's give this a stir. Oh yeah. All right, you guys want to see this, don't you? I know you do. Check that out. Whew. That's pretty good, guys. I like that. All right, guys. The etouffee is technically done. Okay. I put the lid on it. I've got it on a low heat just over there, just mellowing out. Just started up the rice, so as soon as the rice is done, we can eat. All right, guys, I just want to show you just how thick that sauce turned out. I mean, it's not super thick. It's not a heavy gravy or anything. But yeah, that's turned out to be a nice sauce. Man, look at that. That'll stick to your ribs. Okay, my rice cooker just turned off, so that's ready. Come down here, turn off my burner. And now what I want to do, I want to throw in all that chopped parsley that I made. Just get it in there, give it a good stir. Now, of course, you can take out the bay leaves. The other one's hidden in there somewhere, but we'll find it eventually. All right. We'll take some of this rice. Just kind of fluff it up a little bit. Nice bed of rice right there. Put on the etouffee. Make sure you get plenty of that juice to go into that rice, because that's really good. Take a small handful of the green onions. And there you go, guys. How's that? All right, guys, here we go. The chicken andouille etouffee. Chicken's nice and tender. Got all that seasoning from the andouille sausage, just amazing. The green onions that I threw in at the very end right there just adds a little brightness to the flavors. And the sauce just turned out like a nice light gravy. It's really good. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna get you guys the recipe for the sausage that Jen makes, that low sodium stuff. It's really worth it. All right, this is Mark saying thanks again for watching. I will see you on the road, and I'm hoping down south sometime soon.